Hey, welcome back to 3 poses a day for 30 days to relax the pelvic floor. I'm Tracy, and today's classes will all be focused on using the wall or a door, nice and sturdy, as a support structure. We will tackle legs up the wall, we will have leg off the wall, and we'll do a wide-legged posture as well. The only prop I can think you might need would be a blanket or maybe even a yoga block, depending on what you like to set your sacrum on. And other than that, we're good to go. So pause the video, grab your gear, and we'll get started. All right, first things first, let's get up against the wall. So I invite you to get your bottom as close to the wall as you can, and we'll extend both legs up. If you can lay on the floor and you don't have a huge space in the back where you're raising up and arching, and the sacrum's flat on the floor, then you're good to go. You don't need to worry. If you notice as you're laying here that your ribs are popping up, you always have an option to put a blanket or a pillow under the head to drop the rib cage back down. And if you want to change the angle of the hips, or you're having problems with the sacrum staying flat, you can either put your bottom further away from the wall, or you can grab a blanket or a block and put that under your sacrum instead. And I know it's very awkward moving around on the floor like this. So just to ensure that whatever you have as a prop that you're resting on, just your sacrum is on it and not the spine. So here, I'm in a pretty decent neutral position. My tailbone is not pulling toward my head. It's nice and relaxed, and the legs are extended straight. So now, legs up the wall. Ideally, you want the feet to be hip distance apart. The toes are flexing with the feet, so your toes are coming towards your face. And the hands are either at the sides or on the belly. And you should feel a nice yummy stretch in the back of the hamstrings. Now, if this is too much, you can back off the wall, or you could even bend the knees a little more, and that's fine. And remember, in none of my classes, when I say straight knees, will I ever tell you to lock the knees. We want soft knees in every posture. All right, let's do some breathing. Remember, every inhale, the chest rises, the rib cage expands, and you're filling the belly with air all the way down to the pelvic floor. All right, let's get going. Gaze is at the ceiling. Sacrum is nice and supported, resting nice and flat. And we'll take our deep breaths here for 6. Let's take one more inhale and a long exhale. And next up, we will do a single leg coming off the wall, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Let's leave the right foot where it is on the wall, and the left leg is going to come toward your face. If you needed, you could grab a strap to give support if you wanted to hold behind the leg. But the key here, I'm still evenly distributed with the weight on the sacrum, pressing nice and firmly down as that leg's coming up. And you'll see my hip is about 90 degrees. If I go a whole lot further, my butt's gonna roll off of my support structure, which is not what I want. So the hip is at 90, and I'm going to flex the toes, flex the foot toward the face again. All right, why don't you join me? We'll inhale and exhale, move that left leg. Even if it's just half an inch off the wall, you're doing great. That's what you need. And we'll stay here for 6 deep breaths. And if it's too much, just come back to the wall. Yoga should never hurt. Let's inhale together one more time. Exhale, very gently bring that left foot back to the wall. And we'll switch sides. Nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, the right foot comes off the wall. Bending the knee if you need to. Try and get to roughly 90 degrees with that hip. Great. And we'll stay here for 6 more breaths, making sure you're flexing the foot toward the face and you're still even with the weight flat on the sacrum. Let's take one more inhale. And on the exhale, slowly bring that right foot back to the wall. Beautiful. Now keeping the back in the position it's in now, nice relaxed shoulders, sacrum still flat on the floor, we're going to move the legs out wide. Now how far you can go will depend on a couple of factors. Obviously, how flexible you are. And the other thing is if you're having problems with the hips, or you notice that going all the way out and starting to drop those legs is putting a lot of strain here, or you notice the legs are shaking, it's too far. So even if you're starting hip distance and only move about 2 inches out, that's fine. You're changing the angle and you're changing how you're stretching the pelvic floor. For me, I'll go just a little bit further. So I invite you to join me. Make sure you're still flat on the floor with the sacrum. You're relaxing all the muscles of the pelvic floor, and you should feel a nice yummy stretch on this inner thigh and maybe even in the back of the legs. And to deepen the stretch even further, you can bring the toes again toward the face, flexing, and it'll deepen the stretch in the hamstrings and maybe even in the calves. And remember, it doesn't matter how far you go. If it's only an inch or 2 from where we were before, that's fine. Alrighty, this is our last set. Let's make it a good one with 6 deep breaths. Make sure your gaze stays at the ceiling. No tension in the upper body. Let's take one more breath together. Deep inhale. Long exhale. And now I invite you to bring the feet back to the center. Maybe rest them for a second. And that is the end of our 3 poses today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for class 21. Be well. Namaste.